As part of the immigration changes announced this week, the government is making it easier for franchise businesses to employ migrants. To explain what that all means, I'm joined by Small Business Minister Andrew Bailey. I mean, what is the change and what difference will it make to franchisees?
Well, first of all, it's a significant change that Minister of Immigration, Erica Stanford, announced. What she's done is that she's reversed something that's been in place since 2022, which meant that if you were a franchise owner or operator, if you wanted to recruit staff, and of course we've had a long period where you couldn't recruit staff very easily and you had to go to immigration to get those extra people, they were required to go through an extraordinarily difficult process and in cases pay up to 5 times the cost of employing the same person as a normal company operator who wasn't a franchise operator would have had to incur. So what she's done is very simply is she's removed the category which meant that franchise operators couldn't do that easily, so in effect made it easier now for franchise operators to hire people.
So they're treated like any other business.
They're treated like anyone else. And when you think about it, the franchising operations in New Zealand, people don't appreciate it, represents about 12% of the economy, employs about 151,000 people, and accounts for probably about 40% of, or 40 billion of turnover, or if you take in fuel and vehicle sales, about 60 billion of revenue that happens across the economy.
Why were they treated so differently anyway?
I don't know. You have to ask the former government, but it was sort of like a war on franchise operators in New Zealand. And the interesting thing, if you think about the big names like Mitre 10, if you think about your coffee shop, they have a lot of franchise operations. Laser Electrical, if you went and got your electrical stuff, those are all franchising operations. And for some reason, the previous government thought that they were bad employers, and there's no evidence of them. 71%, or 2/3 of all franchise operators in New Zealand are actually owned by New Zealanders. So they're good people. They do a lot of activity in the economy, and for some reason they were penalised. And that what Erica Stanford's done, and also with the request from the franchising group, and I acknowledge Robin Pickerel in this process, is that we've reversed that and put them on the same level playing field as all other independent operators.
So where were they facing particular labour shortages? Were they?
Oh, look, if you think a bit across of building construction, right? People, I remember hosting...
So a lot of franchisee
firms
building homes.
Building homes, right through to people trying to operate entertainment businesses. I talked about the coffee type arrangements. Across all the sectors, there's huge number of franchise operations operating at all the major industry sectors in New Zealand.
So what's the expectation of what difference the change will make to them now?
Look, it's going to make it easier for them to become accredited employers, which is what they should have been all along with anyone else who was a reputable business. You should be able to be an accredited employer, and therefore, if you need to, they can go overseas, provided we get the right skill sets coming into New Zealand and recruit people. But hopefully, and as most New Zealanders firms are trying to do, they're trying to recruit New Zealanders as well. But it just puts them on the same playing field, because when you starve these businesses of talent, of people, that's when they go backwards, and their competitors could employ other people and make it easier for themselves at lower cost.
But presumably at the same time, they're still having to meet the same standards of other businesses.
Of course. And there's never been really any assertion that franchise operators were any worse than anyone else.
If they're able now to bring in migrant workers in a way that they weren't before, I mean, is there any expectation about an increase in the amount of migrant labour that franchisee businesses will employ? Or?
Well, it's up to them, but one of the big changes that Erica Stanford announced on Sunday around the immigration settings is that we want to reduce the number of unskilled labourers coming into New Zealand. That's a key focus. We were putting in English tests and things like that, because whilst we need talent, we want talent at the right level. We want skilled talent coming into New Zealand. And so the large amount of the change was around tightening up unskilled labour coming into New Zealand, because we simply don't need it, and we want to make sure we're getting the right people coming to New Zealand. So Franchise operators will have to operate in that framework where they are bringing in talented people, not just people because they want to fill up a coffee shop.
Yeah, so they're not going to hire someone as a waitress or waiter.
No, and that's a major part of the reforms that Erica at Stanford announced on Sunday to make sure we've got better quality, if I can put it that way, more high-skilled people coming to New Zealand.
I mean, given, as you say, a lot of these are small businesses, how easy is it for small businesses to operate in that accredited employer scheme anyway and bring in foreign workers?
Well, you have to go through the process to become an accredited employer, but it's a proven track now. For people who are prepared to do it, who employ a lot of people, they can go down that track. But we just want to make sure we're getting the right talent. And I think that's the biggest issue at the moment is if you look at category 4 and 5, which is a technical term for unskilled people, most of the immigration, we've had huge amounts over the last, basically over the last year of people coming into New Zealand who don't actually have high level of skill sets. And we want to make sure we're refocusing on those people with high skill sets because we want to improve productivity in the economy and help the economy grow and move forward much faster than it has been.
Andrew Bailey, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
To support our award-winning independent journalism, subscribe to nbr.co.nz.